So maybe somebody's been bugging you for a while to get your estate plan done, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then you think, well, hold on, how much should this cost? Should I be paying $100, $1,000, $10,000? I mean, what's the range? What's reasonable? And what do I get for that price? I'm going to be talking about money today in this video. How much should an estate plan cost? So to understand how much an estate plan should cost, first you really need to know, what does an estate planner actually do? I mean, you may have seen some documents like a trust, a will, a durable power of attorney, and you might think, oh, that's not that hard. I can do that myself, right? First of all, you need to understand that a lot of what we do is not related to the forms. I'd say about a third of my work is drafting the forms and making sure that they're perfect and everything like that. But 2/3 is something different. So really my first job is to develop trust with my clients so I can find out more about their families. Who do they love? Who gets along with whom? Who doesn't get along with whom? I'm looking to see, what's the family dynamic going to look like when the parents are gone? Are the kids going to be able to cooperate? Or do we need to get a private fiduciary involved or a bank? How do we make sure that family harmony is preserved among the generations? And I'm sure we all know some families where somebody died, and when you have, money and grievance and grieving all combined together, families fall apart. So one thing that we do is we really try to preserve the family, make sure that everybody's going to feel like they're treated equally. And also, we try to understand the parents' wishes. Sometimes people come into me and they say, hey, I want to leave this house to the kid. And so we talk to them about that. And we say, well, is that really the appropriate choice? What's that going to look like? How much money is going to be needed to support that child? Is the other child going to feel slighted? What does that look like? I actually have a video on estate planning for children of differing abilities. And that can be a very good video to watch after this one, where we talk about what do the family dynamics look like and how do we make sure that the kids will get along. So there's a lot of red flags that can come up during my planning meetings. You don't really see them go up in my head if you're meeting with me, but they sure do. And I've kind of learned to have a poker face. So it won't be like, somebody tells me something, oh, no way. But in my mind, I might be thinking something more like that. And that could be more like, when we have a community property versus a separate property issue. What do people want to do with their community property, with their separate property? If it's a blended family, how do we navigate all of that? What if they're planning something that can bump somebody off of inheritance, or they want someone to inherit something who's a spendthrift, or they have mental health challenges? There can be some better ways of doing things and some not so good ways of doing things. Also, as an estate planner, we should make sure that the trust is properly funded. I always prepare a deed to transfer your residence and any other real property you own in California into the trust. And then we also help you find somebody in another state to do a deed to transfer property in other states into the trust. We also talk about foreign assets. We talk about everything that you own, everybody that you love. How do we manage all of it to make sure that it all fits? So you can tell, I feel like I'm 1/3 estate planner, 1/3 social worker, and 1/3 counselor. Boy, it's all involved here. And by the way, I love it. So here's the big problem with estate planning. How do you know if it's going to work? The estate plan is typically triggered either if you're incapacitated or upon your death. But when you die, you're not going to be around to fix it anymore. So if you do some bare bones plan that really doesn't accomplish your goals and your purposes, and everybody starts fighting and your kids are desolate, you won't know that unless you're really working with an estate planning attorney who knows their stuff. Another factor is figuring out how complicated is your situation really. Now this is going to sound funny. I've been practicing for 16 years and I can count on one or maybe two hands the number of clients I've had come in who really have had a simple situation. Many clients, by the way, have come in and said, oh, Ellen, my situation is so simple and straightforward. It's going to be a breeze for you. And then I start asking them those questions. And then the red flags start going up in my brain. And then I start thinking about, well, how is this going to work? And what's really going to happen here? And all of a sudden, It's not so simple anymore when I explain that to the clients, and I can start seeing the wheels turning and the light bulbs going off, and they're like, oh, that's what we're doing. So a lot of times you don't really understand the value of a good estate plan until you really talk with somebody who knows what they're doing and can help you walk through the situations that you thought were simple, but actually can be quite complex.
Hey everyone, if you like my mom's video, like and subscribe.
So I promised we're going to talk about money. So there are some people who work for employers, and the employers have like the Hyatt legal plan or other legal ARAG that are free to the employees. Well, that can $0, that sounds great. Now that can work for a very simple plan. By the way, ARAG and Hyatt Legal and other companies like that, typically they don't pay very much to the attorneys. They pay maybe $800 for an entire estate plan, and that's not enough for the attorney to feed their family. So you better believe the attorney is not spending a lot of time on you. They might have one meeting with you, and then they pass everything off to their paralegal, who charges a lot less but may not understand all the dynamics and everything involved, or all the taxes, and then the paralegal's doing all the work, and then they might charge an addition to do the deed for the house, and they may not talk you through funding the trust. So that can be a real problem. Also, they don't do the more sophisticated trusts, most likely. They don't do the dynasty trust to protect an inheritance. They don't do the special needs trusts for children with disabilities. They're not looking at how do we really build the very best plan. But that's what you get for $0 or for working for your employer, So that can be a place to start. And if you do have a very straightforward situation without all of these nuances that I've talked about, that could work for you. Also, please keep in mind that taxes are involved with estate planning, and not just one type of tax, 5 different types of taxes. In fact, I've done a series on the different types of taxes involved. Capital gains taxes, estate taxes, gift taxes. In California, we have California property taxes. We have something called generation skipping transfer taxes. You want to go to an estate planning attorney who understands all of these taxes. You don't want to do something that's really good for capital gains taxes, but it's going to hurt you with estate taxes or with California property taxes. So you might be saving a few $100 or a few $1,000 in your plan, but now your property taxes have gone up and you're paying thousands of dollars a year more for your property taxes. Well, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so the actual number really varies. Okay, so I'm not going to give you a hard and fast number, but it really varies depending on the estate planning attorney's experience, depending on their staff, depending on what they really look at and talk to you through, and a lot of that is based on their experience. So you should really look online. You can find out about the estate planning attorney. Some attorneys will do a free meet and greet. I don't do those, okay? But I have over 70 videos that you can watch of the different types of planning options that you might have. But find out more and then go for it. It can really be worth it. Some plans do go as high as $10,000, and those can be more complex, but they can really be worth it because you might be saving a ton in estate taxes, or you might be making sure that capital gains taxes are protected, or family harmony. That's priceless. Also, you might be working with other financial advisors who are actually charging you a lot and you just don't see it. For example, financial advisors can be very helpful, but they're typically charging 1% of the underlying trust assets. They just don't send you a bill at the end of the year. It just kind of comes out of the investments. So keep that in mind. You really do, I believe, you really want to pay for great advice from professionals. Now, the last question that comes up is, how much should it cost to update your documents? Well, if you've gone to an attorney before and they're going to update your estate plan, then they might charge hourly or they might charge a flat fee, but usually it's not as much as the original trust, typically. I'm not going to speak for everybody. I can speak for myself. If I already have done somebody's estate plan a few years ago and they want to just, modify paragraph 4, I'm fine with that. We can do a partial amendment and we only charge hourly. It takes maybe an hour. It's really not that expensive. But what if somebody else has done your estate plan 10 years ago and you just want to modify paragraph 4 by going to another attorney? Most attorneys that I know will not just modify a small section of an overall trust, because by doing that, we're taking on all the liability of anything that might be wrong in that overall trust. So it actually takes us more time to look through the actual trust and see that everything that we read is accurate. Instead, we want to work with our own forms that we know are tried and true, and they're tested, and they stand the test. So we would typically do something called a restatement and amendment of the old trust. So we keep the title the same. You don't have to retitle anything. You don't have to go to the bank or file a new grant deed, but we are updating the insides. And let me tell you, it takes just about as much time as setting up an original trust. So that usually costs about the same as doing an initial trust. But really, trust should be updated every 5 to 10 years. So there's this fallacy that, okay, I've done a trust, I'm completely done, I never have to update it, I never have to pay any more money. Oh no, you do want to come in and make sure it's called a revocable living trust. You want to make sure that it works for you. So again, we've talked money. I'm not giving you specific numbers. You can ask, before you sign up, definitely ask, how much is this going to cost? But I do encourage you to get a plan that works for you, that's comprehensive, and that you feel like you can sleep at night knowing that when you're gone, it's going to be carried out, your family's going to get along, taxes are going to be good, and you're going to be good. So I encourage you to watch this video over here, all about the basics of estate planning, and I'll see you over there.
Hello everyone. If you liked my mom's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all next time.